Here we go. It's Tuesday Ramble out in the vineyard. It is absolutely much better than yesterday. I was going to say glorious, but it's not really glorious, but it's much better. The north wind is blowing, which is fantastic news. The rain has stopped, as you can see. No rain, which is fantastic as well. And the north wind has saved us, I think. From yesterday it started blowing in the evening, really quite strong. It's dying down now, so it's meant to die down completely this afternoon, but we're going to have a look at the vines and you can see that they're all nice and dry. It's dried off all of that rain, which is great news for any potential mildew attacks. So we're very, very relieved about that. Just to locate you, over this direction, this is the Narbonne direction. Just pan round. Here we go. There's no chance of frost here now. It's about 11-12 degrees, so a lot colder than it has been. Yeah, it's nice and windy. A lot colder than it has been, which is actually good for mildew as well. Mildew doesn't like the cold, so it's all good down here. So Touchon is just down this road here. So if you walk down this road about 20 minutes, you'll get to the village of Touchon. Morning, Diane. Yeah, Diane's here. She's actually got the lid off. That was perhaps a bit optimistic. But I've brought you to a rather special vineyard this morning. Okay, so we're in the vineyard, surprisingly enough. And here, let's have a look at this. So it's a bit battered. You can see it's a bit battered probably by the wind. But if I hold it up, it's nice and round. It's not very indented. It's almost a complete circular round leaf. It's got a waxy top. It's not that embossed. Okay. And here's a big clue. If you turn it over, it's got hairs on the back. So what do we think? Any guesses on this? It looks similar to something we've seen before. It's a big round leaf, smooth on the top. Waxy, almost, but then we turn it over and it's got the hairy Grenache. Blow me, Paul, you're on fine form this morning. This is the hairy Grenache. Congratulations. Yeah, hairy Grenache. So I brought you up into my little hairy Grenache vineyard just outside Touchon. And the hairy Grenache, the vines here are 60 years old. Just have a look at one here. And we make 100%. It's actually called Lledoner Pelut is the name of the wine and of the grape, the official name. That's a Catalan name, Lledoner Pelut. But I thought that was a little bit complicated. So I actually call mine the hairy Grenache. And it makes a delicious style of wine. It's very fruity, it's very fresh. It's quite light for us, for our styles of wines, which makes a nice change. And we bottle it separately, so we keep the single vineyard separate. So 100% Lledoner, or almost 100%, because we're just going to look at this vine. Okay. So this was next to the hairy Grenache. Look at the leaves are getting really big now. Look, I can hardly get my hand. Well, you can't see my hand underneath it. This one, a lot more indented. See that? Okay, a bit bobbly on the top. Oops. Turn it over, and you've got fine hairs and lots of little veins. So this is Carignan here, and it's occasionally, because this is like a traditional Massal selection, which would have been done by the local farmers, we have got mainly Lledoner Pelut, but we've got a bit of everything. So here's just a random Carignan vine. But what I wanted to show you on here, we talked about hail before. Now, for those of you who haven't seen hail damage, can you see that? Literally sort of been cut into the stalks where the hail came down about a week ago. So there's no big damage to this vine at all. It's going to survive, but it's just, you can imagine if that was any worse. This is light hail damage. There you can see, zoom in there. So a bit of hail damage there. Say hello to the grapes. Hello grapes. Lovely bunch of Carignan here. Okay, and my idea was to walk all the way around this vineyard today, so I better get going. Just have a look who's been in here before me. So I am not alone in here. Monsieur le Sanglier, Mr. the Wild Boar. So I just thought I'm just going to walk you around the edges of this vineyard because we're going to look at the soil. If you look at the soil here, it's actually quite muddy and it's sort of red and clayey, so heavy clay. No, it wasn't Jean-Marc. I think we're referring back to the wild boar droppings. So funny. So clayey, heavy soils. That's good for holding the water because although it's quite wet here, in a couple of weeks, you know, this is going to be rock hard and very, very dry. And then I wanted to show you this tree here. Anybody any ideas what this tree could be? Hi Mum, you made it. Oh, great to see you Mum and Dad in Ashby de la Zouche. We're just in the hairy Grenache vineyard looking at the almond tree. And then down here in the distance, this is what the team are up to today. Don't know if you can just make out, he's quite a long way away. That's Sebastian and he's strimming the vines. So while it's not raining, not the vines, the grass in the vineyards. So while it's not raining, we're getting in, the whole team are out this morning and we're strimming so that we can then get in. We're hoping to be able to get in and spray this evening and to protect the vines. It's probably going to take him like 3 full days to cut this vineyard here. So back into the vineyard, we're looking at the soils. We've seen the almond trees. So the soils now, they're changing. Can you see that? We've got bits of stone, so some limestone in here too. Yeah, you have to be really fit to do the strimming thing, like for a whole day actually going out and cutting the grass. And just to show you how intensive organic is, it takes us, one person, 3 days to cut the grass on a hectare, whereas in conventional farming, it would take probably about an hour to go in and to treat it with chemicals. So a lot more labour intensive, 3 days compared to an hour on the tractor, and a good physical workout while you're doing it. Look at this, lovely thistles here. And then I just wanted to show you something in the hedgerow down here, and look at the soils. Can you see those soils? So the soil's completely changing. Do I have a favourite soil type? I quite like the slate actually. This is schist. Oh, I'm picking it up, but I have to be careful about the wild boars. So it's slate. See that? Just bits of slate. But they give a lovely freshness to the wine. This is what I wanted to show you. Any ideas what this might be? Yeah, definitely worth doing the strimming and going the organic road. Definitely, 100%. We would not do anything else. So anybody, can you see that? And this is just great. Fennel! Dan, my man, it's fennel. That's correct, this is fennel. So this is just growing wildly. I need to keep moving because I did want to get you the whole way around this vineyard today. This is wild fennel, and it grows around the vineyards, and somehow those flavours, they really do get into the wines. Now look at the soil here, and I've only walked like 50 metres and now it's almost completely slate or schist. Here we come, we could do a bit of grass cutting down here, I think. Yeah, fennel and France, they just go together, don't they, Julia? And they go together with my wines. It's a bit early to be tasting my Grenache Gris, for example, but if you next time you try my Grenache Gris, just have a go. Think France, fennel, Grenache Gris. It's delicious. Look at that. Isn't that lovely? So we're good. The wind has dropped, or it's dropping, which is not so good, but the rain stopped, which is really good. Right, let's have a look at this vine, because let's have a look. Because I said it's a big mixture in this vineyard, and this one, for example, for those who've been following, should pretty much recognise it's Grenache. It's got that waxy, shiny top, and if you turn it over, it's got hairs on it. So the hairy Grenache, hence the name, hairy Grenache, Lledoner Pelut in Catalan. So up we come. Yeah, it's amazing how much the soil does actually change just in one vineyard. Like, I've just come up the hill a little bit, and you can see now there's no sign of any of that slate or schist. And in actual fact, I think it's this great diversity of the soils here in Tucson that give the lovely complexity to the wine. So yes, I do like schist from the wines, but I just love the big mixture of all the different soil types that we have here. It's not just one, it's just a whole combination of different soil types. Zoom in on some little grapes. Now this one, I just checked to make sure. Okay, we're in the hairy Grenache vineyard. We have an imposter. It's trying to look like hairy Grenache, but it looks very Grenache on the top. You turn it over, no hairs. So this is actually a real Grenache as opposed to the hairy Grenache. See that? Nice Grenache leaf, turn it over, no hairs. And then lovely wild flowers here, if anybody knows what they are. So yeah, in the vineyard it's mainly hairy Grenache, but because this is a Massal selection, so it would actually have been grafted by the locals about 70 years ago, there's a bit of everything, but its majority is hairy Grenache. But you get surprises like the occasional Carignan vine and the occasional Grenache vine. And just looking here, we can see a little bit of more wild boar damage here, can you see? So this would be the way they come into the vineyard. The boar come out at night. Yeah, wouldn't it be fantastic if I could just stage a wild boar coming down this track? They come out in the evening, so you can see them sometimes when you drive around, but they're quite shy in actual fact, and they run off. But occasionally we see them when we're driving at dusk, but they come out at night. If you look down here, this is the damage they've done. You see all these stones that they've sort of brought down the hillside with them. So we're going to have to pick those stones up and put them to one side so we can get the tractor in, so that Jean-Marc doesn't sort of roll off on the tractor with these stones. So a lot of damage as well, just like physical damage done by those wild boar. Just talking about the hairy Grenache. Just when we first started making it, it was my dream to make a single vineyard hairy Grenache from this vineyard, and we tried to make it for a couple of years, and basically we just did the standard technique, 10 days maceration, and it really was not that good. It lost all the fruit, the tannins were quite harsh, and so we didn't actually sell it as a single vineyard. And then we thought, okay, let's try and get the maximum fruit and soften those tannins. So we only leave the skins in now for 4 days. So in those 4 days, we try and get the maximum fruit, the soft tannins from there. And we make this sort of lovely, delicious, very fruity style of red wine. You live and learn, I think. But I have managed to ramble the whole way around the vineyard. So that gives you an idea of the size of the vineyard as well. And I just wanted to come up here before I take a look at your questions, just to show you something else that's lovely in the vineyard. So we saw an almond tree in the distance, and here you can see the actual almonds are starting to form on the almond tree. So they'll be ready coming up to the harvest. And we have bitter almonds and sweet almonds, so you don't want to get the wrong ones. Bitter almonds are almost inedible, and you can't tell until you've actually tried it. The wind has dropped actually since I've been walking around, so that means this afternoon I can actually get out there and start protecting the vines again against any more potential attacks of mildew, because they're still forecasting bad weather. But I can show you on this one the effect of the spraying and the protection. You see here at the bottom on this leaf you can see the protection. So that's where we've put copper and sulfate and our fruit pectins here to strengthen the vine, all organic. But then up here, these are the new shoots, and it's growing so quickly that these new shoots are actually unprotected. So we need to get out as soon as we can. We can't get out because it's very wet and damp, but we're hoping that this afternoon, if the wind keeps blowing, that's going to dry the soils and we can actually get out either in the tractor or with the backpack. So still lots of work to do. Glad you're all enjoying this. Let's come back down the stone wall. So that would have been made from stones from the vineyard. Just goes around the outside of my vineyard. So today you've basically rambled around a whole vineyard. And here's the Diane waiting to take me home. I really look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Let's see what the weather's going to do tomorrow. À demain, same time, different vine.